All right, you guys, we're going to jump right into this with no introduction. There's a lot that I would like to speak with you guys about. Can't wait to hear your feedback. A lot of lies that are being put out there, narratives that I would say are half-truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that. First and foremost, I'll let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world.
Candace Owens just dropped a shocking revelation that has sent shockwaves through the political world. For days, the public saw Charlie Kirk's wife as the grieving widow, the perfect image of tragic loss. But now, Candace Owens is at the center of a storm online, suggesting that maybe the story we've been told isn't the full picture. She isn't pointing fingers, but she's asking questions no one expected, and the answers are sparking chaos across social media. The theory spreading online is no longer about a hidden figure in the crowd. It's about the unsettling possibility of something far closer to home. Online discussions have speculated about Erica's demeanor, though there is no public evidence linking her to the case. The tone has shifted dramatically, from a simple tragedy to whispers of internal tension, unverified claims, and timelines that many find difficult to ignore. Insiders and commentators are talking about peculiar coincidences, strange timing, and emotional distance that some viewers say feels unusual. Candace Owens has amplified these discussions, and in doing so, turned grief into one of the most heated conversations on the internet, where loyalty, suspicion, and politics now collide in real time. This is no longer just a murder investigation. It's a national spectacle, a story wrapped in faith, betrayal, and heartbreak. And now, the question echoing across millions of screens is hauntingly simple. Was Charlie Kirk's untimely end a political act, or something far more personal?
That young man. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
And many say it's the most shocking chapter yet. Word across social media is that even though investigators already have a person in focus, another name has begun circulating, and it's one nobody ever expected. The person once seen as the symbol of heartbreak and grace is now being discussed in a completely different light. Online discussions have speculated about Erica's demeanor, though there's no public evidence linking her to the case. That alone was enough to send comment sections spiraling. And when Candace Owens noticed the growing buzz, she turned it into a digital earthquake. On September 18th, Owens ignited social platforms with an Instagram story that many describe as her most explosive yet. In it, she raised serious questions about transparency and whether key information was being kept from the public. She didn't present proof, but she demanded answers. Owens didn't stop there. She positioned herself as a kind of citizen investigator, asking her millions of followers to share what they'd seen or heard around the event. Within hours, her posts were flooded with comments, screenshots, and speculation. The online space became a whirlwind, part curiosity, part outrage, where faith, loyalty, and unanswered questions collided in real time. Not long after, she reportedly received messages from students at Utah Valley University claiming they had captured a photo of someone they believed might be connected to the unfolding event. But then came the twist that sent the internet spiraling. Owens picked up a theory circulating on X, one so wild it instantly divided the online world. According to social media chatter, a private jet allegedly left Provo just an hour after the incident. What drew attention was that midway through its flight, the plane reportedly switched off its ADS-B transponder, something aviation experts say is extremely rare. Posts suggested the signal drop wasn't random at all, but part of something much bigger. Owens shared the theory on both Instagram and X, writing, "Planes are not ever supposed to turn off their radar." To add to the tension, she shared what she described as a message from an aviation insider who claimed the flight did not follow normal procedure. the internet instantly erupted. Some applauded Owens for asking questions, others were too afraid to raise, while critics accused her of spreading speculation and stirring chaos for clicks. And just when the story couldn't get more intense, online narratives shifted again. Discussions began to focus on Erica Kirk. Not as a suspect, but as a person whose quiet behavior after the event left people puzzled. Online discussions have speculated about Erica's demeanor, though there is no public evidence linking her to the case. Observers noted that Erica suddenly went silent on social media, a move some found uncharacteristic. Others argued that such silence might simply reflect private grief and exhaustion. The divide was immediate. One side saw mystery, the other saw mourning. Then came a moment that caught everyone off guard. A calm, almost mechanical public statement in which Erica spoke about the tragedy, but offered surprisingly little reflection on her husband's journey or the impact he left behind. To many, it didn't sound like heartbreak. It sounded like distance. Online discussions have speculated about Erica's demeanor, though there is no public evidence linking her to the case. Yet that quiet tone became the spark for a wave of online theories. Whispers began circulating about the couple's rumored financial stress and reports of private disagreements. As the speculation grew, social media erupted. The narrative shifted dramatically from grief to uncertainty, from loss to mystery. And right when it felt like the storm couldn't intensify any further, Candace Owens stepped in and turned the volume all the way up. On September 18th, she posted a statement that instantly set the internet ablaze. In her words, she claimed she had spent hours reviewing the timeline surrounding Charlie Kirk's story and had reached the belief that something deeper, possibly on a federal level, was being concealed. Though she offered no concrete evidence, the claims spread like wildfire across platforms. The irony here is striking. Owens and Kirk were once seen as inseparable, allies who shared stages, missions, and moments that shaped the conservative movement. After joining Turning Point USA in 2017, Owens often described Kirk as a brother in arms. But by late 2023, cracks had begun to show. Her outspoken stance on global issues, particularly her criticism of U.S. policy in the Middle East, created deep divides. Those tensions eventually led to her departure from the Daily Wire in March 2024. Now, less than a year later, Owens once again finds herself at the heart of a digital storm. Not just questioning official narratives, but igniting conversations about loyalty, power, and truth within the very movement she helped build. And just when it seemed the saga couldn't possibly grow any more tangled, it did. What was meant to be a moment of unity became another turning point in the storm. The memorial service for Charlie Kirk, held at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, drew thousands. The scene was powerful. A sea of supporters, heartfelt tributes, and familiar faces like Tucker Carlson and Erica Kirk speaking from the stage. But one name was missing, and the absence spoke louder than any speech: Candace Owens. Owens later confirmed on X that she hadn't attended. Instead, she shared a cryptic post that instantly reignited the online frenzy. Attended Mass, took my kids to see Light of the World, the story of Jesus. Came home, made dinner, heard Tucker share the story of Christ, followed by Erica's beautiful example of love and faith. Today was perfect. It didn't take long for people to notice. Owens wasn't at the stadium, she was watching from home. And to many, that detail said everything. Days earlier on her podcast, Owens revealed she hadn't been invited to the event, hinting that certain Turning Point USA donors and even Erica herself had chosen to keep her out. The optics were striking. A woman who once called Charlie like a brother, now standing outside the circle, watching from a distance as tributes to his life filled the arena she once belonged to. Adding to the tension, Owens later joked about her absence, saying with a sharp laugh, "There's a 0% chance. Why are people saying anyone can just go? You can't just buy a ticket to that event." The comments spread fast, becoming yet another moment that split audiences in two: those who saw her exclusion as deliberate, and those who believed she had chosen not to attend. Either way, the silence between former allies had never felt louder. "Nope, actually, while I'm attacking the feds, Maybe not going to a public event organized by the feds is probably a good idea. I'm good. I'll listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. That single remark, half joke, half jab, lit up the internet all over again. Instead of a quiet moment of remembrance, the online conversation morphed into a digital battlefield. The focus shifted from mourning to rivalry, from loss to tension. Candace Owens versus Charlie Kirk became the centerpiece of the narrative, a story that now felt bigger than both of them. Some saw Owens as a truth-teller pushed out by the establishment, her absence painted as symbolic, a woman locked out for daring to ask uncomfortable questions. Others argued she was exploiting grief to feed her growing media machine, turning solemnity into spectacle. Either way, one thing was clear: the internet was divided, and every new post, clip, or quote only made the rift wider. As this feud took shape online, the conversations surrounding Charlie Kirk's demeanor intensified. Online discussions have speculated about her tone and public composure, though there is no public evidence linking her to the case. What some viewed as dignified restraint, others read as emotional distance. That contrast, calmness versus suspicion, became a breeding ground for speculation that refused to die down. Reports from those close to the situation added another layer. Some alleged that private tensions had begun surfacing within the wider family circle, while others strongly rejected that idea, calling it pure fabrication by gossip blogs. One thing everyone seemed to agree on: the household once seen as a pillar of unity was now fractured under the weight of public scrutiny. At the same time, several online commentators claimed that certain family members had chosen to step back from the spotlight altogether, refusing interviews or appearances to avoid fueling the chaos. Yet according to a few media outlets, others in the extended family began quietly defending Charlie, arguing that she was being unfairly portrayed. Not as a person navigating grief, but as a character inside a media narrative she didn't write. The contrast became haunting. Two sides of one story, told in echoes that refused to align. On one side, whispers of distance. On the other, voices insisting on loyalty and grace. And in between them, the shadow of public opinion, relentless, unforgiving, and hungry for answers that no one could yet provide. By this point, what began as a personal tragedy had turned into something far larger, a cultural mirror reflecting how quickly compassion can turn into controversy. Online narratives have shifted dramatically, from collective sympathy to whispers of internal betrayal, though none of these claims have been substantiated. Every podcast, every thread, every late-night video seemed to ask the same unanswerable question: when does the search for truth become part of the spectacle itself? They argue that her quiet tone and sudden disappearance from social media reflect sorrow, not strategy, grief, not guilt. Those close to her say the silence isn't suspicious. It's simply the stillness of someone trying to process a world that changed overnight. But the debate refused to settle. It was reignited by an unexpected voice, one that carried spiritual authority and personal connection. Pastor Rob McCoy, co-chair of the Faith Division at Turning Point USA and a longtime friend of Charlie Kirk, stepped forward publicly. His words were careful, but unmistakably pointed. Charlie was a friend to Candace and never spoke poorly of her. Even when they disagreed, McCoy wrote in a heartfelt post, he never engaged in gossip or speculation. I only wish, at this painful time, that she would extend to him the same friendship he always showed her. Charlie would never have treated her family this way had tragedy ever struck her instead. The message hit hard, not from critics or commentators, but from within Kirk's own inner circle, and from a pastor whose words carried emotional weight. It reframed the narrative. Candace was no longer being seen only as a fearless investigator, but also as someone accused of turning grief into fuel for content. Still, Owens didn't flinch. She doubled down, a move that left even her critics stunned. In her next post, she shifted the focus away from individuals and toward institutions, hinting that Kirk's sudden passing might have been connected to his outspoken political positions. On X, she wrote, "Be wary of the people already telling us to stop asking questions." To her millions of followers, it was a call to keep digging. To others, it felt like another spark tossed into a fire already burning too hot. Owens then began discussing Kirk's history of controversial commentary, his criticism of U.S. foreign involvement, his strong views on the Gaza conflict, his unwavering support for certain political movements. She argued that these positions had earned him powerful enemies, and that perhaps his story wasn't being told honestly. Her tone was sharp, her conviction unshaken. Podcasts, live streams, and short clips of her comments began circulating everywhere. Edited, debated, dissected. One moment she was hailed as a warrior for truth, the next she was accused of exploiting uncertainty for attention. As the days passed, the story evolved into something much larger than anyone expected. A public struggle over belief itself. People weren't just asking what happened anymore, they were asking who to trust. Online narratives have shifted dramatically, from theories of external conflict to whispers of internal tension, though none of these claims have been substantiated. And at the center of it all stood two women, one choosing silence, the other choosing the microphone, each representing a different face of grief, faith, and power in the digital age. The more Owens spoke, the more divided her audience became. To some, she embodied courage, a voice that refused to bow. To others, she represented chaos, a reminder of how easily tragedy can become entertainment. Yet through it all, her message remained the same. Don't stop asking questions. And in that repetition, something haunting lingered. The sense that the truth, whatever it was, had become less about facts and more about who could tell the louder story. Then, in a move that reignited the entire controversy, Candace Owens pushed the conversation into new and dangerous territory. On her podcast, she referenced a rumor spreading through online circles. An alleged encounter between a billionaire hedge fund manager, Bill Amann, and Charlie Kirk during what she described as a tense intervention in the Hamptons just weeks before everything unfolded. Owen said, "I was told Bill Amann was upset, words were exchanged, and I'm very happy for him to dispute that narrative." Her statement landed like a thunderclap. Within hours, both Amann and Andrew Colvett, the executive producer of The Charlie Kirk Show, issued strong public denials, calling the claim baseless and inflammatory. But by then, the internet had already taken sides. Hashtags exploded, podcasts debated her words in real time, and clips of her comments spread across X, TikTok, and YouTube faster than anyone could contain them. For some, Owens's remarks represented fearless truth-seeking, an effort to expose what others were too afraid to mention. For others, they symbolized recklessness, a woman so consumed by her own fire that she risked torching everything Charlie Kirk built. Either way, the impact was irreversible. The story had escaped the confines of political commentary and entered the cultural bloodstream. Major outlets began covering it, not as a fringe conspiracy, but as a full-blown media phenomenon. Headlines asked whether Owens was uncovering hidden realities or dismantling a legacy. Talk shows replayed her sound bites. Editors dissected every pause, every phrase, every implication. The tone had shifted. This was no longer about one claim, but about how far a movement could bend before it breaks. Inside the Kirk family, the atmosphere reportedly grew tense. Some insiders described private conversations filled with conflict, loved ones torn between defending the memory of a public figure and responding to the storm surrounding his name. Online discussions have speculated about Erica Kirk's demeanor, though there is no public evidence linking her to the case. Some urged Erica to confront Owens directly, hoping to silence speculation once and for all, while others begged her to stay quiet, believing that any response would only make the fire burn hotter. Meanwhile, friends close to the family spoke of exhaustion, a kind of emotional fatigue from watching a tragedy morph into a spectacle. The lines between truth and theory, faith and fame, blurred beyond recognition. Online narratives have shifted dramatically, from theories of political pressure to whispers of internal division, though none of these claims have been substantiated. By this stage, Candace Owens herself had become the storm. Her relentless questioning, part conviction, part defiance, was now both the engine and the echo of the chaos she'd helped create. Every statement invited a new wave of debate. Every silence drew fresh interpretation. What began as an investigation had turned into something deeper, a national argument about trust, power, and the cost of believing too much in one voice. The result is a family unraveling before the public's eyes, caught in a storm where grief, mistrust, and outside interference collide. Anyways, what do you think about this drama? Let me know your opinions in the comments. And don't forget to check out our other videos to ensure you are all up to date with all the latest drama. Till next time, bye.